Before you play Hideo Kojima's OD, you'll face a choice. A simple one that is included in most games these days, and even appeared in Death Stranding. It's not about the graphics or frame rate, but instead, it's just a simple accept or decline. Seemingly an innocent decision on the surface, we accept EULAs and terms of conditions every day. However, hidden in this particular choice, I think, is a door. One that cannot be easily closed once it's opened. The Faustian bargain has always been about a deal, a man who wants more, whether it be power, knowledge, or the forbidden. He knocks on many doors, seeking who will answer. But sometimes what's on the other side isn't always something you should make a deal with. And once the doorway is opened, whether in myth, ritual, or in stories, something always comes through. Something that doesn't leave without you fulfilling your side of the agreement. Now look again at Kojima's OD, a game about inducing fear in people to the point one could overdose. It's also within the Knock trailer we witness the beginning of this bargain. OD Knock suggests exactly this. Someone or something is on the other side of that door, knocking, waiting for you to answer. And the bargain is simple. Do you open the door? Do you complete the ritual? Or do you leave it shut? Kojima has always toyed with thresholds, the thin line between the player and the character within the story, keeping a through line between the simulation and our real life. In the original Metal Gear Solid, for instance, Psycho Mantis reads your save files. This boss also knows what port your controller is in and constantly interrupts the stream of your TV. Death Stranding has many instances where the fourth wall is broken, deliberately, which has a much larger impact since the game has a very lonely and pervading atmosphere within it. So it's almost like while you're supposed to be alone, you're still not supposed to technically be alone. And of course, PT tapping you into the endless hallway where the only exit is deeper within gives you many fake game crashes and bugs, and includes messages like, "This game is a pure work of fiction and nothing portrayed in it can hurt you." He loves attempting to form a bridge and fill that gap between the game and real life. And in fact, the playable teaser, which would have eventually become a fully fledged Silent Hills game, had some very interesting ideas in store for how it would further expound on Kojima's love of breaking down that barrier between the game and reality. He had a plan to implement some sort of way to use a player's real-life phone number or email to essentially send them messages from in-game characters, and he really wanted to make it tie into the game's story. Almost like an extremely modern version of, say, an in-game audiobook, like a piece of the story unfolding to you and it feels connected to your real life. This would be very interesting, but also it could be very frightening. And of course, this would lead to increasing the haunted house experience and ultimately lead to a deeper feeling of immersion and fear as you play the game. However, with a lot of mysterious things around OD, this threshold that I was previously talking about feels like it's being driven deeper and further. Like, instead of just breaking down the fourth wall, there is something knocking and wanting to come through that wall upon your acceptance of it in. While up until this point, the video may have seemed like a random conspiracy video, I, to some degree, wanted just that, a concept to provoke more thought among gamers. However, it gets much spookier when you start to realize that Kojima has openly spoken about experimenting and attempting to scan real ghosts, yes, like actually trying to capture the paranormal with 3D imaging technology, in a similar vein to how he has captured the likeness of the actors that have starred in his video games. Take a moment to imagine that. Ghosts that are no longer bound by a place but digitized eternally. Phantoms that are being pulled from the liminal spaces and now stored within the machine. If OD is built on this foundation, then every time you play, you're not just stepping into fiction, but you may actually be opening a passage to something very real. A door, a connection, a bridge. I think another hint that OD is going to be an entirely different beast than what we've seen before is actually what powers this new game. Microsoft's cloud technology. And while some of you may think it sounds like your average harmless collection of server racks processing and, storing data of individuals who agree to the terms of service, it gets a bit scarier to think about the game leveraging AI to calculate how to best frighten you. AI is already a bit of a cultural boogeyman for some, but it could actually be used for crafting more individualized horror experiences within gaming. In fact, it could just produce a better individualized experience within gaming if AI was applied correctly. Well, if OD and the technology it utilizes gains your voice, your fears, and your reactions, basically all of you, what will happen when those aren't just stored but networked together for these digital phantoms and AI to explore and exploit? Your panic, along with millions of other players, your fears merged with theirs. OD will create a living archive of human fear stored in the cloud. And if Kojima is truly experimenting with capturing the paranormal, what happens if the archive itself is accessed by spirits? Will the game become some kind of ritual at that point, where millions of doors are being knocked all at once? Legions of demons being unleashed upon humanity because we agreed to let it happen? While this may sound crazy and certainly is in the realm of deep speculation, it isn't far-fetched when you think about humanity and its history. From the biblical account of Jesus being the door to salvation, or since the advent of the Ouija board, a door to communicate with the spirits, we recognize that doors have weight to them. They can be used to close and lock for a means of protection, or they can be broken into for your life and your home to be invaded. Now that we exist online, like literally it's an extension of who we are, what we are, constantly connected to the world around us through this web. The door doesn't have to be metaphoric or physical. In fact, it can now be both at the same time, because the door is digital now. And with cloud technology, it isn't just your door. It's everyone's door, all connected, all open. And whatever is lingering on the other side will be able to enter and explore your inner workings. So when OD asks you to accept, you should think carefully and ask yourself, what are you making an agreement for? Entertainment? Or is this a bargain for something else entirely? Will this game simply measure your fear, or will something be feeding on it? Will the cloud keep you safe, storing your reactions like harmless data? Or will it turn them into signals, invitations? The Faustian bargain was never just about a contract. It was about you opening yourself up to something you shouldn't. Answering a knock you should really ignore. With OD, Kojima may not just be blurring the lines between game and player. He may be blurring the lines between the digital and the paranormal, So when you see that prompt, accept or decline, ask yourself, what's really on the other side of that door? Because once you open it, you may not be able to close it again. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed my video on Kojima's OD. Super excited about the game that's coming out. Obviously, this video is not supposed to be taken super seriously. It's just a fun conspiratorial look at the game and the technology that's running it. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider hitting that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications, all that bullcrap. But anyways, I hope you guys all have a good day, and I will see you in the next video. Later.